Week 1 of free agency basically in the books. Have the Arizona Cardinals done enough to put themselves back in the playoffs for the first time since 2021? And Johnny, Seahawks fans are big mad because I thought that their contract to Cooper Kupp sucks.
It's gross. Will it be as gross as our mock draft today? We finally returned to our mock draft ways. It's PHNX Cardinals live on a Friday. Hey, welcome in live from Studio K, presented by our friends at Circle K. It's the PHNX Cardinals podcast. Premier, #1, Arizona Cardinal podcast. Like and subscribe. Leave us a 5-star wherever you get your programming. I'm Johnny Venerable. He is Brack in Studio K. Hey to our guy, Damon, Dawg, producer extraordinaire behind the mic today. No signings as of yet, here on a Football Friday. Cardinals slow playing it from here on out, it appears. We're going to talk about Asante Samuel. We're going to talk about, have the Arizona Cardinals done enough, Brack, to get themselves back in the postseason picture? That's what this show is about today.
Yeah. Let's get into it, right? I mean, we're just a week in, and we need to know now, are the Cardinals going to be playing January football? Look, I mean, they've done it quite a bit as far as no signing. Like, there was a little bitty baby signing. They took Semi Fihoko from the Los Angeles Chargers coming over. Maybe he's going to be a younger version of Zach Pascal if he makes the 53. But yeah, that's it. We got to meet a couple Cardinals as well. You'll hear from Jacoby Brissett. You'll hear from Dalvin Tomlinson. But yeah, I mean, those are two guys that I think give this Cardinals team more depth and more impact makers that can help them get over the hump, go from an 8-9 team to a potentially double-digit win team and get into the postseason in 2025.
I think if you would have asked me this question earlier in the week, I would have said undoubtedly no, even after the Sweat move. I think the aggressiveness to go out and get Tomlinson after he was cut, we're going to hear from the big man later in the show, quickly becoming a fan favorite on these Twitter streets. And, talking about Thanos and the Infinity Gauntlet, that's chef's kiss for the Arizona Cardinals, in my opinion.
That's interesting, real quick, because I did ask him about, he had the chain on today, and you'll see his answer about kind of the origin story of that. But I'm not as well versed in the MCU as you are. I mean, I watched him. Don't get me wrong. I'm a red-blooded American. I like to watch comic book movies. I just don't. I'm like early in this week, you were just quoting off the cuff Thanos line.
Isn't that crazy? Before Tomlinson signed.
Yeah, before he signed. But then I'm sitting there, I'm trying to formulate the question in my head. And I'm like, Johnny's going to kill me if I blow this, because I see this chain. And I'm like, I almost asked him about the Thanos glove, and he correctly called it the gauntlet. And I knew you probably would have ended the show if they phrased the question incorrectly like that. I almost was like, hey, what's up with the in-shape grimace muffin chain you have there?
You're just a Marvel casual. That's fine. You're a casual is what the kids call you. And there's nothing wrong with that. I wouldn't have ended the show. It's like when you try to talk Star Wars on the show and I get secondhand embarrassment. But it's the gauntlet. There's 6 Infinity Stones.
Let's go.
Stop. Oh my God. I know you're kidding, but it's upsetting when you do that. There's 6 Infinity Stones. You can't house them on a glove, on a catcher's mitt. It's got to be a gauntlet. It's got to be a gauntlet that was crafted to hold those stones. So, duh.
Yeah, duh, man. Come on. Everybody knows that. You can't just house it on some like pot mitt.
Oven mitt.
Yeah,
we were talking earlier. Could Thanos play defensive end for the Cardinals, D-tackle? Turns out that came to fruition. You're welcome, everybody.
It's the snap. It's the Thanos snap.
Not only did we bully Ossenfort into making a move, he signed Thanos himself. I can't wait to talk about Dalvin Tomlinson later in the show. Have they done enough, right? Because I think the biggest concern right now is Defense, we know, is going to add multiple bodies in the draft, right? The offense is the same. The same offense that had a tough time scoring points against Seattle, scoring points against the Rams in the second to last game of the season, looked bad in the second half against Carolina. It's called run it back, continuity, consistency. And I can get on board with that. But did they miss an opportunity, Bo, to add a piece or two to this offense where it could have allowed Kyler Murray to take that next step? Or do they believe all that's going to come internally?
Yeah, I think with just when you look at especially top wide receivers, prospects that come out and, they're year one to year two, obviously there's been guys that have had big time rookie years, but just you should expect that Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to make a big jump in year two, right? And you've already got Trey McBride. And I think you've got something, consistent with Michael Wilson. I think you're going to want more production there. And of course, from your quarterback, you want to see the explosives return to this passing attack. And there should be like concern, right? Yeah. Because you are running it back. There's really no tweaks except for the addition to a guy that shouldn't be on the field really at all next season in Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah.
It's going to be important. Like if you're going to lean into the continuity of it, then you need to see your faith in that pay off. Like the things like the Niners finale, like you can only put so much stock in it because the Niners were a dead team at the time.
It was like a preseason game.
But you did see some things that you were wanting to see. I think you saw it in a couple of the final games. You saw some things as far as the passing attack that weren't consistently there. But no, like it's a huge risk. But what they've invested in, and especially the length in which they're invested in, from Kyler's contract extension to Marvin Harrison Jr. being the first of his 5-year deal as a rookie, and all of that goes into it, there wasn't much to tweak without really kind of like crumpling this thing up and throw it in the trash.
You know what it tells me? It tells me that they are telling Kyler Murray directly or indirectly, like, we believe in the sum of our parts, go make it work. This offense, this is the Ossenfort built offense. He drafted Michael Wilson and Marvin Harrison Jr. He drafted Paris Johnson, Isaiah Adams. He brought in Jonah Williams and Yelda Froholt and Evan Brown. Save for James Conner and Trey McBride, everything else is Ossenfort led. They secured over the last 2 off seasons plus. And so they're telling everybody, like, we believe this offense is good enough, the sum of its parts. We need more from Kyler Murray. And I think Kyler Murray would echo that. I think those of us who watched the offense last summer, it's like, this is going to be a top 10 unit in the NFL, and it underperformed. Mm-hmm. Anytime you're talking about underperforming, it means that your pieces are better than they're showcasing. So what are you laughing at?
Just one of our usual guests coming in here after enduring a 10-game losing streak and being as far from the playoffs as most a team can be.
The best, man. The Cardinals beat the Bears by how much this year?
I mean, like completely
embarrassing.
Mopped the floor with them. It wasn't a coach team in the NFL. And he gets a couple 30-plus-year-old bloated, interior offensive lineman contracts, and it's Super Bowl. It's the 85 Bears all over again.
Jonah Williams plays about 6 games a year, but good luck, MP. That'll do well. No, I just back to my point. I just feel like you can make a tweak. Like, they could add a right tackle who's not going to play right away, right? They could add a receiver who's got to fight its way up the depth chart, right? They can add a running back, but this is the offense. And so it is an indictment, fair or not, on the quarterback and the play caller if they don't take dramatic steps forward. Like 17 passing touchdowns is the number I go back to leading into that finale, right? Kyler Murray, I think this year, the expectation should be like over under 25 passing touchdowns and, 6 rushing touchdowns. And then I always say, if you're able to go over 30 total touchdowns with Kyler Murray, like, that's a playoff team. This year, the passing touchdowns were not there. The passing game, I mean, the Trey McBride saga where he couldn't get a passing touchdown. So I believe the defense post-draft will be good enough to make the playoffs. Hellboat was good enough last year, given how well they overachieved. Now you're talking about, let's say, first round, you're getting a pass rusher, or let's say, hypothetically, Josh Sweat, Darius Robinson, somebody like Walter Nolan, and then a second-tier pass rusher to add to what they have. That's a playoff-worthy defense on top of the maturation process of all the young DBs that you have.
A young team, right? The Arizona Cardinals are in the top 5 as far as youth in the NFL.
Yeah.
And you see the development on display, the coaching that goes on from Jonathan Gannon. It's a great coaching staff, and an improved roster just would point to even more success in year 3 under this team. But, you have the ability where you're pretty much in the dead middle of everything statistically, defensively. Mm-hmm. I mean, I know obviously the pressure numbers you want to see, but as far as what you surrendered points wise and then what you scored points wise, you're on both sides of the football, you're right there in the middle with a ceiling that you are far from reaching, I think, on both sides of the football. And especially with the enhanced personnel on the defensive side so far through free agency, who you're getting back from injury, and then what you have the opportunity and potential to get in the draft. I mean, it should be for a group that was the more consistent side of the football and the one that was able to overachieve as much as they did, the ability to actually add talent, that should give them a really good chance to put forth a close to a top 10 group, if not better. And the same goes for the offense, though. But the offense is now hey, we're not tweaking, as you said, we're not tweaking anything. No. You guys are getting a second chance at this. Don't make us look foolish, because we believe in you that you can be this top 10 group. So we're if Kyler Murray gets 30 passing touchdowns, or if he goes over 30 total touchdowns or approaches 35 total touchdowns, right? And then you've got already this complementary run game. That's enough points that would have swayed and tipped the scales as far as where you needed to be in some of these games you lost.
The passing game was just too inconsistent, borderline unwatchable at times last year. It did not feel like the Cardinals had any continuity there. And it's not for quality. I know people want to nitpick the offensive line, and I get it. I think they gave up guys 28 sacks last year. We're dogging the Bears right now in the chat. They gave up 70 sacks. And the Cardinals offensive line is consistently one of the better units in the NFL. I get it. Two things can be true. Kyler Murray can be great eluding sacks, and the offensive line can be a strength of the team. How many times do you feel like Kyler Murray, they dropped back to pass and it was underneath checkdowns and there were no big explosives and there was that lack of cohesionness with Marvin Harrison Jr. They've done enough, in my opinion, to check the preliminary boxes defensively, save for a veteran corner, which they're going to add. As long as they don't botch this draft, you really just now, this is what the draft needs to be for them moving forward. Paris needed to be a home run. He was. Hopefully Marv's a home run. Get some guys that develop in the middle of later rounds. Now you just need to start hitting doubles in the draft. If you've got pick 16, get a contributor, right? Not a savior, a contributor. Pick 47, hit a double, get guys in rotations. Yeah. I think that's really what's going to benefit them this year, because we had unrealistic expectations for rookies in the past, given where the Cardinals were. It was just get them out there. Team's not going to be any good. Right. Team's good now. On paper, the team is good. I would take the Cardinals roster up and down. I mean, this is certainly over San Francisco at this point. And I think on any given Sunday, they could beat the Seattle Seahawks and the LA Rams. So yeah, it's going to come down to about, can they win 10 plus games in a division where last year 10 games didn't even get you into the postseason?
Right. No, I mean, you should, especially when you look at the NFC West getting the opportunity to play the NFC South and the AFC South next year.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's going to be probably
6-2 minimum. You got to go.
Yeah, you're going to have to win those games and continue, but also take care of business within the division. And if you just do that, your non-divisional opponents, you're going to be in a really good spot. But it's going to be a dogfight. But along with cannibalizing each other in the division, you could be put in a position like the NFC North was, where there's a lot of gaudy, win totals.
Yeah.
But you also want to make sure you're not just you don't get blown out in the playoffs like that full entire division got in round one. But yeah, I mean, the Cardinals in as far I was curious when you brought up the draft. You can't botch the draft, and I agree with Hanshop first that Marv is a triple at the very least. What does botching the draft look like to you?
I think if you get no production from the 16th overall pick.
Right.
I think you have to
Can't be a minor leaguer. It can't be a good prospect. It can't be somebody that I was talking to Nancy today on Locked On Cardinals, and he kept on bringing cornerback and offensive lineman, and I was like, well, that just doesn't help the team win this year. What's their role on game day? It's like you might be like corners a premium position. I get that. And you always want to add and contribute to the offensive line. I can get on board with both of those things. But as far as how the Cardinals roster is built and the strength of this draft, I think that the Arizona Cardinals would like give themselves the ability, if they lean into defensive front seven player, that guy would come in and immediately have a rotational spot and be able to make an impact on game day.
It went to potentially being a concern with too much that they put on a middle of the first round defensive lineman to almost a best case scenario now. And you asked for examples. The chat's given them. Jonathan Cooper, bust. Robert Kimdichie, bust. Isaiah Simmons, year one, not very good. Prolonged, right?
Name a year.
DJ Humphries is a rookie, didn't play. I mean, like, though you need to have, I mean, think back. Paris is an anomaly because he's already one of the best left tackles in the NFL. I mean, like, Darius Robinson, you can't have another year like that, in my opinion, where that player, and that was a very specific, tragic set of circumstances with his mother passing and then certainly the injury. You need to have a guy come in like Chop Robinson last year for the Miami Dolphins, where it went in the back half of the first round, and you got a guy who got better as the season went on and started getting sacks in bunches, right? You want this player playing their best football in November and December. Don't thrust them into the lineup if they're not ready. If you take Mikael Williams, and Mikael Williams is like, this is a lot. This is better than the SEC. It's like, okay, we'll see you on third down. And I trust them with rookies because they made Xavier Thomas a fifth rounder. Granted, he was older, fifth round rookie, come in and be productive. Like, you don't think they could do that for James Pierce Jr. or some of these other players, Walter Nolan? So you need a contributor that is trending toward being a star stud in year 2 and year 3. That's it. And then 47, I mean, like Marcus Golden didn't play as a rookie. You know, some of these guys that pop, Trey McBride didn't give you anything. That's why I just feel like I love the draft, but we romanticize it a little bit. When your team is ready to win, right? That's why you have to spend in free agency. You can't just rely on draft picks. You have to go over the top. And they did enough this week to get there.
But I think where their roster stands, and I'm not asking for the defensive rookie of the year or Braden Smith, who's on the all-rookie team, Fisk. But I think that you got to get something close to that, like as you rebuild things, like because like Braden Fisk overall, you look at him statistically, like didn't do a ton. He just happened to be good at that position. Like I think you really need to be able to like get some production, some just rotational guys inside, interior, and I think that probably yields itself to the 16th overall pick. And then, get whoever the best pass, like a Landon Jackson, a JT from Ohio State, you know, one of those pass rushers that can go in there and play behind Josh Sweat, BJ Ojulari, Baron Browning, and Zaven Collins.
No doubt. And you never know. Like Dallas Turner last year had a big nothing burger of a rookie year, and people thought he was the best. People are like, he should go top 5, right? Jared Verse was an afterthought. A lot of it's coaching, a lot of it's opportunities, but the good news is they are, based on this week, if they can land the plane here with a cornerback of note, and we haven't heard anything on Asante Samuel Jr. yet in terms of his deal, if he's going to get one, a future visit, they have put themselves in a position where last year their over-under was 6.5. I mean, Vegas probably right now will put it at about 7.5, maybe 8.5. And so, you know, the Niners, not very good, right? Seattle, very questionable offseason, and the Rams are the Rams. So Cardinals just need to have that arrow pointing up. Damon, I think we welcomed a new diehard earlier in the chat. Apologies, I didn't get to this earlier. There he is, Jacoby, finally a diehard. Thanks, boys, for doing the Football Lord's work with Jacoby. Thank you so much for becoming a part of our community officially. And we'll see you in the exclusive member Discord, my friend. And this perfect plug. If you have not become a diehard now, is the time. $36 for the year, $3 a month. It breaks down. You get a free shirt, any of your choosing from the merchandise locker, Bo. We're so fired up for our diehard community.
Yeah, the t-shirts alone on the merchandise locker, like the brand new ones, is $34.99. You buy a membership right now for $36. You're getting it for $1. It's not bad, right?
Yeah.
That's a great deal. So, I mean, you get the Die Hard membership card, you get the free t-shirt of your choice from the locker, you get access to all the premium written content, you get that Discord lounge access, and you get discounts to all the events. Like, don't we have a discount on the golf tournament coming up April 12th? That's a good one to get a discount on. So go and take advantage of this Die Hard access for just $36 until midnight tonight.
Man, that's some good stuff right there. We got good stuff around the corner here from Jacoby Brissett on working with Kyler Murray, maybe, hopefully. And then, of course, Dalvin Tomlinson, Mr. Thanos himself. Presser clips coming up, PHNX Cardinals. Man, I need football. I'm jonesing to bet on football, but in the meantime, Bet365, they've got me covered, as well as all of you, 90 million users worldwide, 780,000 events each year. They have pioneered live in-game betting. And right now, I mean, basketball postseason is right around the corner. I don't know, March Madness is coming up. It's the premier betting app, and you're going to want to take advantage. How about this tomorrow? Slam Dunk Saturdays. It's never ordinary. See yourself with the Slam Dunk Saturday offer. Again, place qualifying bets totaling up to $20 or more on Saturday NBA games. Get up to $25 back in bonus bets. Terms and conditions apply, but you got to download the app. You got to use the bonus code Bet365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary. You got to be 21 years and older, physically located here in the great state of Arizona. If you were someone you know has a gambling problem, wants help, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP, text NEXT STEP to 53342, or visit problemgambling.az.gov, both for more info.
It's nearly tax season, right? We're a month away from your taxes being due April 15th. And, you know, money is on the top of your mind. Sometimes it can stress you out. It can always be tough tracking where your money goes. Check out our friends over at Monarch Money. This is one of our new partnerships. We're pumped about it. Finances, with them being messy and confusing, Monarch Money acts like your personal CFO. Who doesn't want that? Just right there on your smartphone. You got your own personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control so you can start earning and start growing, right? It's more than your average budgeting app. Monarch Money is the complete financial command center for your accounts, investments, and goals. Check them out. Don't just manage your money. Start building wealth with 50% off your first year for our listeners here at PHNX Cardinals. You got to check it out. Start managing those finances. Build that life you actually want. Monarch makes managing money simple, even for busy lives like I'm sure most of you have. Track your spending, savings, investments effortlessly so you can focus on what matters most, making your biggest life goals a reality. Check them out right now. Get control of over your finances with Monarch Money. Use code PHNX at monarchmoney.com in your browser at half off your first year. That's 50% off the first year at monarchmoney.com with the code PHNX.
It's all money when you're hitting that like button on PHNX live streams here on YouTube, wherever you're watching. We got 700.
Like a teacher trying to be cool.
Hey, it's money.
Hey, this lesson, let me tell you what's money.
That's right.
Let me tell you about Julius Caesar.
Open up your textbooks to chapter 4, which is money, friends. We're fired up here. Cardinals, I don't even want to say like salvage their week. I mean, they saved their week. Like the week was trending to be not good. When that LJ Collier contract for the vet minimum hit like a sack of bricks on Wednesday, and I like LJ Collier, I was like, what is going on here? Have we waved the white flag? So it's
when Monarch Money like alerts you on the LJ Collier is in your finances, and you're just like, oh,
got to change my password. Hang on, guys.
Still paying for LJ Collier? I haven't opened that. I haven't opened up that app in months.
Oh man, we're fired up. Let's talk about something else that got me fired up today. Hearing from the big man, Dalvin Tomlinson, who was made available to the media over in Tempe today. Cardinals rolling out a lot of their newest additions. Your takeaway from the Cardinals' newest nose tackle, and will I say like currently their best defensive tackle?
Yeah, he's a guy that I think wants to be here in the desert. And you see that theme, and it's in a whirlwind couple 48 hours where he goes from being firmly part of the Cleveland Browns to somebody that had to find work and was able to build a market for himself and chose the Arizona Cardinals. And one of the things as far as Tomlinson, you hear right out of the gate is the head coach and his defensive coordinator is one of the main reasons he chose to come to the desert. This was his view on joining the Redbirds and what he knew before.
JG and Coach Nick, man, just playing against those guys and knowing them just from the other side of the ball in the games, and I just see what the team's done over the last couple of years and what they're growing into. I just feel like I want to be a part of something like that.
He's a big boy, man. He even said like he's not the biggest guy, and I think he's talking at like relative to like his position. I mean, he's coming from playing with Myles Garrett, who's just a massive human, but he is such a big guy. I shook his hand and it just like engulfed mine. It just made mine look like I was Kenny Pickett. Dalvin Tomlinson, though, was great. He did, as I mentioned, I asked him about his Thanos chain, and he gave us the origin story as far as that goes.
Oh, yeah. Shout out to my boy Zadarius Smith. He got me for a Christmas gift, actually. And my sack celebration is the Infinity Gauntlet snap. And they've been calling me Thanos since I got in the league. So that's like my sack celebration and stuff. And he got me the Infinity Gauntlet, the Infinity Stone.
Great.
You okay with that?
More of that. More of that, please. Love it.
He nailed it. It's all factually correct. Nothing he missed out on. Okay, good. That's important to me.
It is. It's important to me as well. And he understands the lore, which is important. And he didn't just refer to the movie itself, but you go back to the lore and the comics and the origins of Thanos. You know, we got Secret Wars coming up, lots of good stuff. He mentions Zadarius Smith too. It's like he's still a free agent. Would you sniff around Zadarius Smith? A little bit of reunion, pass rush specialist. I think there'd be some value getting Zadarius Smith here.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what the draft gives you, right? Because Zadarius be one of those guys that hangs around until post draft. Wouldn't mind it.
Yeah.
Also, like we talk about pass rush win rate a lot with a guy like Dalvin Tomlinson, right? 2.5 sacks. He's the guy that had 11.4% pass rush win rate. It was the biggest as far as his size at 320. That was number one. It's a unique stat there, but a guy that can really move people up front. But it's not just about getting after the passer. He understands that there's importance as far as really kind of slowing down the opposition's run game.
I take a lot of pride in run stopping just because everybody's, pass rushers and everything. Pass rushing is like the pinnacle, I guess you could say, of D-line. But the thing is, we won't be in a position to actually pass rush if we don't stop the run, because every coach, no matter how new or old, young or old coach you are, if the run's working, we're not going to pass the ball. We're going to go back to the run game. So I take a lot of pride in stopping the run just so me and other guys can have opportunities to get sacks.
I think he's diminishing how good of a pass rusher he is, by the way, with that clip. And I saw that go. And I appreciate wanting to prevent the run first. Cardinals got to third down a lot last year.
Sure. I mean, the run was a thorn in their side, especially early on. It was trending towards being historically bad the first 4 games. And then it snuck up at the end of it. And I think the reason was and no disrespect to the guys that were in that room last year, but none of them were like Dalvin Tomlinson. Nobody ate up space, took out, multiple offensive blockers, and is going to be able to put guys that also are decent in the run, like Zaven Collins, in a position to take down ball carriers on the first level.
If you've got a quarterback also who can move, I mean, it's just game over to where this pass rush was the last 2 years. So hopefully that will also see a significant improvement where he can clean up a lot on the interior as well between he and Josh Sweat and a rookie and Darius. I mean, you got to feel much better about that. They need to go from the worst in the NFL the last 2. They've basically been the worst D-line in the NFL the last 2 years, or amongst the worst, 28th, 31st to
interior defensive line. Statistically, they weren't bad. Off the edge, they were really bad.
Yeah, I'm just talking about the defensive line as a whole. Getting a rush, they've been the worst in the NFL the last 2 years. Yeah. Can they jump inside the top 20? I wouldn't put it past Rollis with new players.
Better players.
Yeah, better players. It's not about coaching. It's about who can win one-on-one. Rollis will put you in positions to do that. That's the difference between the offense and the defense.
Yeah.
We have full commitment and confidence in Nick Rollis. Can't say the same with some people with Kyler Murray and Drew Petzing.
And Tomlinson just came off as a really good dude, right? He was a guy. He's just like Josh Sweat, who he likes to build his own like computers and stuff like that. He's a big gamer. Sometimes can be, something you don't talk about around here because of all the lost narrative that surrounded Kyler Murray for far too long.
Yeah.
Just Tomlinson just seems like a guy that likes football. He's all there for it. He's a great teammate. Getting back to how we started this conversation, just how Jonathan Gannon and Nick Rawlis are one of the driving forces to bring players to the desert. They're seeing that they're well liked, well respected, and that they're superstars in the making at their respective positions.
It's just a position that has been ignored far too long. And I know that they signed 2 defensive linemen last year, and unfortunately, with LJ Collier's contract coming out of only $4 million, it's like, is that the first guy that could be cut? I hope not, given they've got some guarantees to both Bilal Nichols and Justin Jones. But they're just playing in a different sandbox this year with the caliber of defensive linemen they're bringing in. They're not bringing in guys to help get them through. It felt like the free agents of old. It was just like, help us get through the season, right? Help us work with the rookie. Hey, Justin Jones and Bilal Nichols, can you work with Darius?
Right.
Oh, you're both hurt. Now it's like when you sign players of this caliber, there's an expectation of, as Josh Sweat put it yesterday, I want to win more games. Dalvin Tomlinson understands, like, it's a high pick for a reason. Coming in here and being paid a premium over 2 years, I'm going to help elevate a group that let this team down last year. And that's a good feeling.
His position coach, Coach Debo, too, 27 years old. Dalvin Tomlinson, older than that, almost 5 years older. And Coach Debo doesn't think that's going to be an issue at all.
Yeah.
So that's basically the extent of the Dalvin Tomlinson introductory presser. They got that deal done officially today.
Nice.
And also they got the deal officially done with Jacoby Brissett. That he heard from the Cardinals, early in the tampering period. As soon as it opened, he's good friends with quarterback coach Israel Wolfwork, who was there with the Browns and Drew Petzing before coming here as the Cardinals quarterbacks coach. Thursday, he's like, I was talking to Izzy, and he's like, so what's going on with the Cardinals? He's like, I can't talk about that because the tampering period hadn't begun. The Cardinals were very careful not to break any rules. But Brissett, as we kind of switch gears, is like I said, a major box that they checked off on Tuesday during this tampering period, and got somebody that I think creates a safety net behind Kyler Murray. That thank goodness he was able to play in each and every one of the 17 games last season, but previous to that hadn't been able to do. And then also this sounding board, this guy, this wealth of knowledge as far as the system that Drew Petzing runs. That's from Stefanski, the Stefanski Brown system as well.
Yeah, let's hear from Jacoby Brissett earlier today, talking about his relationship with Kyler Murray.
I think I got to figure that out as we go. Obviously he's been a good player in this league for a long time. I've watched him a lot. Obviously with him playing against a lot of teams that we've gone against, and and just here to figure that out myself.
Just a good dude,
transparent. He wasn't going to be like, oh yeah, me and Kyler, and this is what I'm going to do for him. And it's just one of those things. It's like Kyler's, you're seeing on social media, he's there in South Korea and doing some good things over there, and he just hasn't been able to connect with his new teammate. But he talked about the quarterback room. You have to be each other's allies, and you have to be each other's you have to be transparent in that room, and also it's you against everybody else, really, as far as your position group goes. So I think Jacoby Brissett, with so much experience at that spot, he's going in his 10th season at NC State. It's with the Patriots in their heyday. It was at the Colts organization when they had some decent teams. He's been all over the place and had some run-ins even in Indianapolis. The Cardinals head coach, Jonathan Gannon, he talked about their relationship.
That's one of the most exciting things, I remember us going back and forth in Indy's, practicing Indy and things like that. And obviously I always saw this trajectory for him, being a head coach and being able to run and show himself, his energy has been contagious since I met him, and I've always been a big fan of JG, and I'm here to help continue the trajectory that he's put this organization on his last couple years here. So I'm excited to see his growth.
And he revealed Gannon's message to him once he joined the organization.
Pretty much just told me buckle up, and like this word, explicit word, is still going back from when we were in Indy, when we were competing against each other in practice. So it's good to see that he still remembers those days, and like I said, I'm so excited that he's got his opportunity. He's taking full advantage of it.
Buckle the F up. That's basically what JG told him.
Gannon said that to my face, and so I know what it's like, Jacoby, when those expletives are flying. I know what it's like. Bo knows what I'm talking about. Here's how I view this signing.
Yeah.
And again, I don't want to go overboard. We've had Garofalo talk about this multiple times now. We talked about the Cardinals trying to get a veteran in here last year. Fair or not, Kyler Murray is not perceived as like, who's Joe Burrow's backup? I don't know. Like who?
Browning.
Yeah.
Who's
Josh Allen's backup? Like the elites in the NFL.
Is it Trubisky again?
Yeah, scrub dirt, Mitch Trubisky. Like the elite.
Bo and I are just sitting here naming off all of Johnny's rhetorical questions.
Both smart ass. The elite quarterbacks in the NFL. It's like we typically don't know who their backup is, right? Like, or it's a younger guy, or it's a reclamation project. I wonder how Kyler Murray is going to handle this, because what has been the common theme with this signing? Because they tried to go younger and more athletic, like to try to find a guy with an upside, like with Desmond Ridder last year, not more athletic than Kyler, but like that kind of signing, right? Mm-hmm. Or they draft Clayton Tune and we'll develop him. The consistent messaging with this is we got to get somebody in the room with Kyler that's older, that's seen some things. And it's like, well, Kyler Murray is almost 27. He's been in the league for 6 years. I do think this was a signing to kind of light a fire under that group. I don't think this is like an old stalwart Colt McCoy style, which was that's what it was early on. If you're signing a veteran who, according to Mike Garofalo, is a top 5 veteran, and I don't think I'm reaching here to say like, we think this guy can pull more from you. Number one, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But number two, it acknowledges that there is still work to be done here on his part. If Kyler Murray was a finished product and everything was clicking, they would be signing no names, or they'd roll with Clayton Tune, or they'd get somebody. I just feel like everything that I hear about Jacoby Brissett is just like he's elevating the quarterback room acumen. It's like, well, we've got a quarterback here who's been in the league for 7 years.
But that's not the philosophy of the organization. You and I had that conversation, talking about with Gannon, and he was talking about adding coaches to his coaching staff, right?
Yeah.
And how he wanted to precisely get, his outside linebackers coach with his defensive line coach, and then they can work in concert together and it click, right? And I think he wants that type of synergy across the roster. And as far as like Jacoby Brissett, like, and the Cardinals have reached out to Jacoby Brissett. He confirmed that today multiple times. So it's just like they have thought him out. They just haven't been able to get him. And then they had to pivot to different directions. Like first year, like it was Colt McCoy was on the roster. Kyler Murray was rehabbing, and then they wanted to take a shot to see what they could get out of Clayton Tune. Last year, they wanted to continue to develop Tune. There was there's belief that he could be a backup in this league, but also brought in competition. They wanted, maybe Brissett, but then they had to settle for a trade for Desmond Ridder. And then they were facing it again, and they're like, okay, let's just get a deal done with Brissett. He's available again. I don't see this as like really, hey, we need to bring in Jacoby Brissett to push the envelope with Kyler Murray.
You don't?
Push
okay.
Into this next stratosphere. I mean, I think they look at it like, who could pair well in that room with Kyler Murray and help him up his game? It's Kyler Murray's room. Like, this doesn't change that. It's not going to be like, hey, Jacoby Brissett's like the most well-versed as far as this offense. But
Jacoby Brissett is not in Kyler Murray's league.
Right.
I'm not arguing that for a second. But
as far as his knowledge, his insight on this offense, despite Jacoby Brissett also being in tune with this Petzing offense,
Yeah.
it's still not going to make him like, hey, this is going to be my tutor. This is not Kyler Murray's tutor. This is a guy that he's going to be able to have peer-to-peer conversations about what he's seeing, how he views it, how the game plan. I think that's more what this is.
Okay. I mean, I know you use Gannon's coaching staff as an example. I would push back and say, like, we all thought they were going to hire like old Mike Zimmer to come in and be like assistant head coach. Gannon's gone young with his coaching staff. And then you look at like these position groups, right? It's like, I don't know. They haven't added a notable veteran receiver to come in and mentor Marv or Michael Wilson. Like, that's their receiving room, right? I mean, like Paris Johnson Jr.
I mean, they brought in Zay Jones.
Oh, come on. I mean, the guy who was suspended last year. He's clearly number 3 on the depth chart. I find it fun. I go back to what Garofalo has said twice on the show now. It's like they wanted somebody in there to push Kyler Murray, not push for the starting job,
right?
Push him behind the scenes. And I do think that that's a little alarming going into year 7, where it's like being pushed in year 7. I don't know. I don't feel great about that. I hope he proves me wrong. I would love nothing more. I don't know.
You're right. Like Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes are not going to have.
They're not squeezing more out of them with a veteran.
Priority to get the backup quarterback. Can
I acknowledge a comment here real quick? Like, Chris, we're having a big boy conversation about the Cardinals quarterback who underperformed at the second half of last year. If you're not in a position to have a conversation about 2 and 5 down the stretch, like this, we're not going to do this thing where we just praise Kyler Murray left and right. Listen, the organization is telling you right now that they need more from him. Every time we've heard Gannon and Ossenfort this offseason, especially Ossenfort. So I'm a big Kyler Murray guy, but I do think, listen, on March 14th, we got a veteran quarterback that needs to be brought in year 7, talking about, helping him out. That's not the best thing. A guy's on his second contract. He was the first overall pick. I thought after last year, like going into the season, Tune's the backup or Desmond or whomever. It's like, this is Kyler Murray's team. How many times have we said it? It's Kyler Murray's team. This is his quarterback room. He's the old stalwart, right? I'm like, good. I'm going to get behind this. Fast forward a year later, it's like, no, we're going to bring this 32-year-old in. It's like, okay.
But also, can you look at it from the standpoint of Monti Ossenfort going to, his front office, his pro scouting department, his coaches, and saying like, all right, let's look at the backup quarterback position.
No
Who's
doubt.
the best fit for this organization?
Upgrade astronomically. No. Yeah. No,
but
I mean,
you are number 1 Cardinal.
I am. I'm a huge Kyler Murray hater. My son.
It's you. It's Chuck. It's who else is on there?
It's my Jarecki's in there for sure. My son definitely doesn't have a signed Kyler Murray jersey in his room. We definitely don't have a ton. I want Kyler Murray to do well. I don't actively root against him, but I am at the point where it's like, this is it this year, isn't it? Doesn't it feel like we got to see a jump in production, and maybe Jacoby Brissett is the missing link, plus another year with Drew Petzing, or like, if we're having the same conversation,
Jacoby Brissett's not the missing link. No, that's a poor way to phrase it. No,
you don't like that. You miss Jacoby Brissett behind the scenes.
Your backup quarterback is not your missing link. Like Jacoby Brissett's not going to go on a Nick Foles run if necessary.
No. I mean, like behind the scenes, to push Kyler Murray,
right? And I don't view it as that either. Like, no, I think everybody is on the same wavelength here, where they understand like this roster's in a good spot. Contend for a playoff spot and make a run in the playoffs. We got to see it now.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that. Like everybody knows, like talk to Mina Kimes and at the Super Bowl. And she's like, I said, this is a make or break year. And she said, yeah, kind of. It's a pretty big year for the organization overall. And in order for this organization to be successful, they have to have the most important position in all of sports humming.
I mean, he got swept by a quarterback last year that was just dealt for a 3rd rounder, and we laughed about it.
I know.
So I mean,
he got beat by the Seahawks defense
for sure.
Yeah.
But we couldn't beat Geno Smith at all since he's been in Seattle. We got to get to a point this year where we need some marquee victories. That's what this year's about. Some marquee victories, and but I'm excited about Jacoby Brissett. I'll be as transparent as I can be right now. I don't want to see Jacoby Brissett play a game for the Cardinals.
Right.
No one wants that. He can do the Clayton Tune tush push right? If the Cardinals still opt to do that because no one wants to see Clayton Tune do that again, respectfully, that's it. That's the extent. And Kyler Murray did show last year. He played all 17 games. He was as healthy as he's ever been. It's game on now. Roster's playoff ready as we started the show. Game on.
I feel like this is a throwback, but he'd be like Murtaugh from Lethal Weapon. Jacoby Brissett's too old for this crap as far as doing the tush push.
Who's going to do it then?
I don't know. Tip Ryman.
I don't even know if you need that.
I hope Tip Ryman's just taking snaps this offseason. Like that's just that he's getting used to getting the ball from under center, and he's going to tush push it.
Everybody drop in the comments who is going to be doing the tush push. Yeah, CBK said James Conner. That could work. Maybe that's what they do. Anything else from Jacoby Brissett's presser today?
Yeah, we got some insight. I asked him about, coming over in this wealth of playmakers, and he gave us a couple little nuggets throughout here.
Oh, for sure. I remember we played him last year, man, and I was like, dang, what year is James Conner? And I feel like he went back in time, and he was like, it's impressive to see, what he's done throughout, his career. Look like he's aging backwards, like I said, and obviously the young talent that Marvin is. I remember him coming to a indie practice when I was there. He was in high school. And I remember all of us was like, man, you should start playing with us right now. Start playing with us now. So obviously excited to get to work with a lot of those guys. And obviously Trey, the career he's had, the year he had last year, it was unbelievable. So, I'm excited to get to work with all these guys and see where I fit in.
Saw a new name enter the discussion for the tush push, Johnny. Are you seeing
What's
that? Cam Scattaboo. We found a role for him on game day.
He can do it. Oh, come on.
11 Cam Scattaboos, and you're converting every single fourth
RB2. You don't think he's going to have a role as RB2? I do. RB2. Top 30 visit Cam Scattaboo to you, Bo Brock. Top 30 visit. I'm glad you weren't on that interview with Garofalo yesterday, because that we would have seen the soul go from Bo Brock's body when Garofalo.
I mean, he would have been so mad. Johnny and I talked about it directly after we finished recording with Mike, and we were like, that would have crushed Bo.
Because after I'm going to tell everybody right now, after we did the sit down with Scattaboo, Bo was quick to point out, well, he could visit, but the in-state guys, they get a freebie. It wasn't a freebie.
Johnny's his soul left his body that time. Well, we do Damon. Are you a little insulted that we aren't asking, or Johnny didn't ask? I'll say Johnny because he was talking to Garofalo directly yesterday. He never asks about T-Mac. He never asks about the true top prospect coming out of the state.
I think if T-Mac was not such a premier prospect, we would talk about him a little bit more, because the Cardinals, it just makes no sense for them really to use a first-round pick on a wide receiver.
I'm sorry, Bo. Is Garofalo not coming on again before the draft? He's going to come on like 3 more times. It's March 13th. Come on, Bo. T-Mac, I don't want to talk about a receiver in the first round. I like T-Mac fine. If the Patriots need to take T-Mac.
We're talking about a guy that the Cardinals probably aren't going to draft anyway either. As far as Scattaboo,
but running back first round would be even worse. We're not talking about that.
You think there's a better chance the Cardinals take a running back on day 2 than they take a receiver in round 1. Sure. T-Mac's a first round pick.
If that's how you want to win an argument, sure.
How I am winning this argument. That's how it is going down.
You're not going to be able to date. You can't date. Sydney Sweeney. You also can't date Jessica Alba.
You always go to that route. You always bring me down. Yeah, I know what weight class I swing in. Swinging above my weight class, baby. Drop a like on this video. Okay, to recap, Dalvin Tomlinson, good player, excellent in front of the mic, starter at nose tackle. Jacoby Brissett, not pushing Kyler Murray, but he is a QB2. Here's the recap of free agency thus far, and these are the newbies. So this doesn't include all the re-signings the Cardinals snuck in over the last several days. Here's how I look at this. They've got 2.5 starters and a bunch of backups. Now, that could get pushed to 3. If they sign Asante Samuel, that's 3.5 starters. But all of which, defensive side. Defensive side. The offense it's like, get your easy bake oven out. It's ready to go. Ding. The offense is ready. Does it taste good? or is it kind of bland? Does it taste like 7 and 10? I hope not, but this is enough for me to say, get a corner, we're in business.
We do. I did check it out. Aaron Wilson now has the details on Michael Walker's deal, and as expected, was not a whole lot. Salary is going to be you got a 1 year, $1.79 million contract with the Cardinals. So Michael Walker coming over as a special teamer, played under 100 defensive snaps for the Commanders last year. And you notice they got the Semi Fehoko wide receiver edition there. 6'3", 220.
I do want to point this out too. Chris Moore was signed to what we thought was a contract that was ironclad to make the team last year, and he was cut before the regular season. Remember Chris Moore, wide receiver. So anybody that on that list, minus those 3 defenders that they signed, Gaithers, Davis, Gaithers, and Tomlinson and Sweat, any of those guys could be cut in a moment's notice. So camp guys, can they earn a spot? They've done pretty well finding guys. Could they re-sign a Tristan Colon here? Mekhi Becton continues to wait. We're going to continue to monitor this market, but coming around the break, you guys been asking for the better part of, it feels like 2.5 weeks, our latest mock draft via the PFF mock draft simulator. Let it go. But first, before we start mocking some players, I'm going to tell you what you shouldn't be mocking, and that's the sun this summer. And that's why you got to get in touch with our friends at All Pro Shades Concepts. Anytime you're driving around, you see those custom fit awnings. It's like, how do I even go about getting those, right? Well, check out All Pro Shades Customs, hundreds of designs, colors to choose from. And this is the best part is like, I've got an HOA. Bo, I know you've got one. Like you got to get HOA approval. They work with you to match. They've got motorized, they've got remotes with LED lighting. It's a custom job that's not going to break the bank. I promise you right now, we're going to hook you up right now. Call 623-204-1476 or visit allproshades.com. Again, schedule your own free estimate. In business for 20 years in the Valley, they're a staple. They started making window shades by hand for friends and family here in the Phoenix area. Now they're one of the largest installers of patio roll-down shades and motorized awnings in the Valley. Again, check them out, allproshades.com. Get your free estimate today.
If you're thinking about selling your home or you're actively selling your home and your agent's just not getting it done for you, you got to check out this phone number right now. Give Carol Royce and her team a call. The Carol Royce team, call it 480-776-5231. That's 480-776-5231. Or check out Carol online at carolroyceteam.com, because Carol Royce is going to get you 100% the market value of your home, or she's going to pay you the difference. That's her guarantee. This is guaranteed real estate that doesn't really exist around the Valley of the Sun unless you're going with Carol Royce and her team of real estate agents. It's the Valley's fan favorite real estate team, the Carol Royce team. Your home sold guaranteed. Get that 100% of market value, or she's going to pay you the difference. Check it out when it's time to sell your home. If you're selling your home, you need to make a switch to Carol Royce's team. Make the smart play. Call Carol Royce team or Carol Royce and visit Carol online at carolroyceteam.com. That's carolroyceteam.com. Terms and conditions apply. And as if you missed the phone number, here it is one last time for you. 480-776-5231. It's 480-776-5231. Even if you're just like on the fence about it, give her team a call. They're going to give you some great advice. Give them a call today.
No news yet on Asante Samuel Jr. Does not appear to have another visit lined up that at least is public. And again, there's a connection there with Brandon Staley. The best year of his career came under Staley, even though the charges were a disaster. So again, something to watch for ahead of this weekend. And Bo and I will be on standby, potentially emergency pods if our wives allow it, for a little Asante Samuel Jr. edition. But now we're going to do some additions via the NFL draft and our friends at the PFF mock draft simulator. I am going to share my screen. Gentlemen, you let me know when you can see. Hang on one sec. I'm a little bit behind here.
You got to get all those tabs out of the way.
I do. I got to close all the bad tabs. Presenting, share screen, and we're ready.
He's got like Ted Ryman's PFF page up. He doesn't want you to see that.
All right. We are going to do all 7 round.
Now, hold on. Now, before we do this, will you make a pledge to Damon, myself, in this audience that you're not going to hijack this mock draft?
I promise that I will not go rogue. I will not go rogue. Me, you, Damon, we will do this as a collective effort. I promise.
The chat. I'll keep you honest here.
Chat. I got to pull up. Yeah, I'll pull up my extra monitor here. I promise I will not go rogue.
Wow,
is that good enough for you?
Wow. I love it. I believe you this time, even though you've given me no reason to believe you.
It's been a long time. You would think I'd be click happy, and yet I've never been more willing to collaborate. So I feel good about this mock draft. Let's go ahead and enter the draft and get started here. And we'll do the rest of the rounds a little bit quicker, but we'll have this go a little slower here. And any interest for a trade up, gentlemen, or we like where we sit at 16?
Well, let's see who starts to fly off the board. I mean, as it stands right now, I'm feeling pretty good. Yeah, but let's let those picks go slow here. Let's keep it going. Can we see the top? So number 1, Cam Ward goes to the Tennessee Titans. Then they go, the tackle out of Missouri goes 2 to the Browns.
Some wild picks here.
Travis Hunter to the Giants.
Shamar Stewart going to the Bears. Niners go. The other edge rusher from South Carolina.
There's going to be some good players for the Cardinals. T-Mac goes to the Cowboys. Sorry, Damon.
Yep.
Mikael Williams goes to the Dolphins. You're welcome. So you got Mikael Williams and you got Chop. Mike Green goes to the Colts.
Yep. So a little bit of run on pass rushers here. I mean, I think the choice is pretty obvious on the surface, but we can have a conversation. Now, Walter Nolan did not go. I don't think PFF is as high on Walter Nolan.
Down.
Yeah. I mean, you're talking about a player in the 20s. I mean, do you feel like, is there any interest in trading down and trying to get one of those players?
Yes, there is. I've got some interest in it because I look at these guys, like you're not going to go safety there. He's the top player on the board according to PFF. You're not going Will Johnson. You're not going to wide receiver at a Missouri Burden third. And then you look at these guys, the BC edge rusher, Kenneth Grant, as you mentioned, Walter Nolan, who's a bit down the board.
Yeah.
Teams want to get up. I think we take a look at that.
Yeah, I don't want to go down too far. I think,
and the thing about James Pierce is I just get this sense, just what's coming from Tennessee and just the character concerns. Like, is he a card? Will the Cardinals view that as a red flag? So
yeah.
Right now, the trade's not looking great because he'd have to fall probably further than you want. Detroit down there at 28.
I don't hate this, though. I'm going to be honest with you. Like,
you're going 12 spots. You better get a haul in return then.
Johnny, what other option do we have? It says there's 2 trades there.
Chicago at 39, a non-serious franchise. I'll tell you what. There's some smoke around people thinking they could trade with Houston because Houston has no tackle. Could they come up and take a tackle? I'd like to entertain this just because I've seen this floated around on the Twitter streets, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people have been putting that out there. So you would have to go 16-25. And then they also have a couple additional picks that they got from Washington. So, I mean, like, is that enough? So you get an additional second and third to drop down 9 spots. I have no idea if they do this or not, but are you comfortable offering that?
They've kind of done that before. It's just further down the first round draft board.
Yeah. Feels like they're going to target one of these tackles because that roster is ready to win now.
Yeah.
I mean, they went out, they traded their whole offensive line. I don't know if they're in a position to wait, but Damon, what's your thought on this package here?
I think in general, typically in first round trades, it oftentimes involves like a next year's first, but for the sake of what we're doing right now, I think it's got to be a 2 and 3.
Well, it says they're not going to make this deal.
Yeah, they have no interest in even 16 for 25. Yeah. It says
something's going on with the simulator. Yeah, because that. All right, so do we want to go back to Detroit and see if they're? I mean, like you could get their second.
And if you're watching on one of our many streaming partners, head on over to gophnx.com and check out the rest of this mock draft so we get it fired up here.
Yeah.
So you easily get their second round pick. But as I said, you're going down 12 spots. And, a lot of players that we said we were interested in, there's a good chance they're off the board. So they give up their 2, they give up their
4.
That's a 3, right? That's a compensatory 3.
I mean, I think you could get. You'd have to be sure you could get Walter Nolan or somebody like that, or Derek Harmon at 28. Because it would give you a lot of flexibility. I have no issue with this. This is what I think.
Throwing in a future day 2 pick.
You could try that.
Okay.
All right. Offer this trade. They accepted it. So the Cardinals get 3 additional picks, 2 this year, 1 next year. I think the Lions are going to regress anyway. And so, yeah, Cardinals drop off.
Let's see what kind of bed we have to try to sleep in here, and which prospects we're gonna. But we will have the ammo if we want to get up. So keep that.
Okay, so Will Johnson.
This is looking good so far.
Yeah, keep taking these safeties.
Looking great.
I'm just pausing just to take a sense of what's available here. Okay, so safety, corner, off-ball linebacker, wide receiver. Yeah, we're in good shape now. Denver Broncos go Josh Simmons. The edge rusher from BC finally goes. Okay. James Pierce falling. Kenneth Grant goes.
All right. Do we need a pause?
I mean, we'd have to go.
Walter Nolan and Derek Harmon are still available.
Yeah.
We are
1, 2,
4
3,
picks
4,
away.
5. I mean, how do I get back to the board? I don't want to. How do I get back to see who's available? I guess maybe I don't think I can. I think we're just gonna have to wing it. I think we ride this out.
Let's do it. I love the risk.
Let's clasp hands and hold out together.
Okay. They have they don't need a defensive lineman. Okay. They took a tight end, running back. Yeah.
Love it.
We're golden now. We're set.
Let's go, boys.
I don't know what's James Pierce gone, but that's all right. So you get Walter Nolan here, I think, right?
Derek Harmon, I think, or Walter Nolan. That's your choice. I mean, Harmon's got a little bit more size. Nolan, I think, is going to give a little bit more motor and athleticism.
Yeah, I'm suddenly not feeling very good.
Why?
Okay. What do you pick, Bo?
Taking a look at the chat here. So far, like to this point, I've been more of a Nolan guy than Harmon guy.
Mm-hmm.
But let's see. Harmon's thicker. He had more pressures. Greedo's saying Nolan. He's saying Greedo shot second. So we got Han shot first and Greedo shot second. All right. Like most people are saying Harmon.
Yeah.
Let's go with the chat. Let's go with the rankings here. I'm good with either one of them, especially with what we got from Detroit.
I've been seeing this trendy on Twitter. People are like, Derek Harmon is what everybody thinks Walter Nolan is. Okay. Both players are great in a trade down. It's gold. So yeah, we can go.
They seem wildly different players to me, don't they? Walter Nolan's kind of an undersized guy, like Aaron Donald comparisons. Derek Harmon, like more of like a DeForest Buckner, Eric Armstead type.
All right. I will draft Derek Harmon. Yeah, I just don't feel great right now as the draft continues to move on here.
What's wrong with you? Are you okay? Johnny, are you all right?
Cue the graphic. Cue it up. Cue the graphic, Damon.
What? Oh, no. What are we doing?
Cue the graphic. Cue the graphic, Damon.
You already showed it. What are you doing?
Cue it.
We already saw it. It was Kermit in a Star Wars cloak.
Dum.
What are you doing?
It's time.
Oh, stop it.
It's time. PHNX Cardinals.
No.
Cue the graphic. Bum, 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 bum. All right. That was pretty anticlimactic.
I didn't know what the hell. I honestly thought you were having a medical emergency.
Did you make the pick?
That's the pick. Let's cue the graphic up one more time.
Jared Sanders is still on the board, by the way.
You asked me to cue the graphic, and then you made the pick while the graphic was on screen.
You already made the pick?
Yeah.
Let's get to who the player was. It's delayed on my end. The Arizona Cardinals select pick 47, Cam Scatterbo. Evil Kermit came on the screen and selected Cam Scadaboo here on PHNX Cardinals mock draft. Bo, your thoughts?
You promised us, man. You promised us that you weren't going to hijack this thing. Rudy, LFG, AZ Cardinals saying, bruh. Tim, just Jesus. I mean, what are we doing?
Here are our picks right now. Evil Kermit came on the screen. It wasn't me. I promised that I wouldn't do it. Something took over, and I looked in the mirror, and suddenly Cam Scadaboo appeared with pick 47 here on the Cardinals PFF mock draft simulator, Bo. But the good news is, certainly we're getting a player that can immediately come in and push that running back group to the next level. We talked about it earlier. Push options. You got a guy who can throw the football a little bit.
Stop with the throw the football.
The ultimate chess piece. And see, we still have a second round pick. Look at these pass rushers. It's basically like we got Cam Scadaboo for free. You're welcome. You're welcome. All right, continuing on.
You know what? You're on the wheel here the rest of the way. I'm out on this. I don't want my fingerprints on this draft anymore. Go ahead, Damon. If you want to participate, I'm not going to judge you. Chat.
I think we got to go JT here.
Yes, 100%. It's almost like these are great picks with 16 and 47 anyway, right?
What's Evil Kermit telling you?
Nah, he left.
You can't. Is it your
Shador.
Boy, Captain Jack Sawyer?
I could see this kind of fall for Shador. Man, anticlimactic because it's sad that nobody saw me make the pick, which is unfortunate. But
because we didn't know what the hell the theatrics that were going.
Damon, was Bo concerned? Was Bo really concerned when I fell down?
I seriously, I was looking at you and I saw you grasp your chest and then hit the floor. And then Damon put up the graphic. I had no idea what the hell was going on.
Good. That's what we wanted. All right.
Dana says, unlike. Thank you. I agree with you. I'm removing my like too, even though it hurts the show and downgrades it. But I'm not proud of the work we've done today.
I am. This is exactly how I wanted to finish the week. All right. JT at pick 60. Can you get back on board? We got some real players now.
We do have some dogs.
We got some real players. We got guys that all participate in the college football playoff. I mean, you talk about, if you were to flip these, I think a lot of people would be okay. But luxury pick, some may say that. Cornerstone pick is what I would suggest. Come on, Bo, get back on board.
Franchise changing pick, Johnny.
I need Bo Brock back in this mock. I didn't know Evil Kermit would break my co-host.
It wasn't so much an Evil Kermit. It's what you did and what you're trying to have Evil Kermit take the fall for. That was a Johnny Venerable pick.
That was not. That was Evil
transparent
Kermit.
to everybody what that was.
How about an off-ball linebacker? Interested? Wow. I think what's happened here today is this amendable at this point?
Yeah, I mean, you've seen the true deterioration of PHNX Cardinals. We got a lot of picks left.
We do. That's why we got to get back on the same page here.
Let's take a look at,
scroll down.
Yeah, we just scroll down, please.
Yeah.
I like Jonah.
Big Jonah, Tate Ratledge.
I like both of those tackles, actually. I would prefer Jonah just because of his versatility. He can kick inside. But like I said, I'm disgusted.
We'll take Jonah. This draft's gonna have your fingerprints all over it here. I mean, you talk about value.
I'm not complicit in this.
You are. You're a participant.
I think things are going great right now.
I'm an accessory to the murder of this mock draft. It's gonna be tough to beat those allegations.
Isaiah Bond. I mean, this thing is the board is falling for us.
Didn't Isaiah Bond, who had the really slow 40?
He did. I mean, compared to his teammate, Matthew Golden had a monster.
He ran a 4.4.
Yeah, he said he was going to run a much higher 40 or lower 40, and he still had a decent 40.
Do you feel like they're going to draft a receiver? I don't. I feel like receiver.
I kind of like Bassa from Oregon as an off-ball guy. I also like Deion Walker. I like the edge from Carolina, who the Cardinals talked to in a formal interview.
But here's the problem with that is who's sticking around then? They've got, we've already added an edge and a defensive tackle. those position groups are going to have like 6, 7 now of guys that could potentially. I mean, we got.
Yeah, dude, it's your draft. Whatever you want.
Wow. I think you go BPA. I think this kid out of Oregon. I mean, it's a good player. Double up on Oregon players. He had himself a good, semifinal game or whatever it was, quarterfinal, semifinal against Ohio State. Damon, you go with this?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, keep it going here. Cardinals picking 115 now, off-ball linebacker. We go here. Deion Walker's still available. That feels like the play. Any interest in a developmental quarterback, gentlemen?
No.
Riley Leonard. No love for Quinn Ewers, huh? All right. Let's go. Deion Walker. Is that everybody on board with that?
What kind of wide receivers are available? What round are we in? Third?
We're in the fourth round. We got a lot of picks here. Pat Bryant, Torrey.
I like Horton.
What kind of size does he have, Damon?
I think with Walker falling though, the size and the projectables, like I know he's got some technique flaws, but he's going to be going into a decent room now. I kind of wouldn't mind taking it. He's 6'6", 350.
I'll tell you what, this is what the Philadelphia Eagles would pick.
Oh,
if they were in this situation, they would invest in the size and the things that you can't teach. And they put him in a good room, with coaches that have their head screwed on right.
Yeah.
This is the round Milton Williams was taken once upon a time. So, yeah, I'm with you guys. I think that's the value pick there. Cardinals continuing on here in the fourth round. A fifth and a seventh remaining. If you're keeping track at home, they had 5 picks on days 1 and 2, and then their own pick there in round 4. So that 102 was the third round here. Fast forwarding now to pick 152. I mean, you're losing me a little bit with the rankings at this point. They're basically a fifth and a seventh guys who probably have a tough time making the roster. I mean, Kyle McCord do anything for you guys?
Of any of the quarterbacks, yeah. I mean, that's who I'd look at here.
Trevor,
is it Chuck available too?
Yeah, just because McCord's a little younger.
Yeah, they're all available. It says this quarterback class is just a disaster. And
how is Dylan Gabriel rated higher than those guys though? I would never consider taking Dylan Gabriel, and I say that the Cardinals are somehow going to take him. Yeah.
I just can't do the Cardinals having the stigma of a small quarterback again. I'm just right. I don't want that.
What do we have? Okay, let's get it off this horse show. Let's go with let's look at tackle development. No, I guess we're good with Jonah.
We're set, man. This is a loaded draft. Some are saying this is our best one. What about a developmental safety?
Safety or corner? What's BPA right now?
BPA is outside of running backs, tight ends, quarterbacks is Quincy Riley, corner out of Gannon's alma mater, Louisville.
Look at all the corners. Show me all the corners.
Okay, let's take a look here. God, you guys are bossing me around.
Sorry, no pageantry or theatrics to try to force a pick on our behalf.
Some are saying
O'Donnell Fortune is an insane name.
Numbers are good. Let's check out his size. 6'1", 185. He's a redshirt senior at almost 24 years old. Played well against Alabama, and Jalen Milroe played atrocious against the Illini and in the bowl game. But
yeah,
I have no issue with a toolsy guy. Or we can just go chalk and go back to the well, the fountain of youth with Ohio State. Denzel.
I don't mind that at all.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, Denzel Burke. And then we have one last selection to make, gentlemen, before we put a bow on what is just a banger mock draft that people
You're
have been
putting a
waiting
bow
for.
on it. This is your draft.
Why is this going so slow?
Your computer
wants us to really relish in the fact
just
that
savor it.
I mean, like anybody in this chat, I don't care who you are, you all would sign up for this right now. Everybody would sign up for this. Whether Scadaboo's here or here or here.
You guys agree with that, chat?
Anybody would sign up for this. And I'm going to tell you right now, Scadaboo was only picked 47 because I knew he wouldn't last to the third round, where Damon and I were going to pull our hijinks. All right.
I can't believe, Damon, you were in on this?
I'm just here for content. So
that's what that text message was about. Round 7. Here in the 7th round, no quarterback of note. So Jacoby Brissett, firmly QB2, and maybe Clayton Tune has 9 lives here. I mean, we've covered basically everything. Maybe a safety, maybe another safety. If
I like Diggs off the edge, but how many do we have now? Like that would be a guy. I mean, he's a 7th rounder, so you have it. He could be a practice squad guy.
8 sacks. Yeah,
Fadil Diggs as Syracuse.
Really good size, 6'5", 261.
Yeah. He was athletic too. I think he had a pretty decent combine.
All right, let's do it. What I think has a chance to be. I mean,
like
again,
Diggs?
Yeah, we went with Diggs, and we have that 3rd round pick next year as PFF makes us wait throughout the remainder of this draft.
What are you guessing our
grade's going to be an A? Because the Scatterboo pick based on this is good value. This will be an A.
It's because Trevor Sycamore loves Cam Scatterboo.
And they didn't love him enough. They gave him a D+ there. Still got an A.
I love that.
Now you want to
the worst pick of our draft is Johnny completely reaching for Cam Scatterboo at 47th overall. Tim, this is awful.
I see no less than 3 Hall of Famers drafted in this draft.
I'd be pumped if this was the draft.
Oh, of course, we all would. Come on.
Not if you're taking Cam Scatterboo 47th overall.
I'm going to tell you right now.
Johnny Time, there it is. D+ spot on.
You know, it's funny. Like, you guys are ripping it. They used the top 30 selection on him. Do I have to remind you guys that happened? Man, what a time to be alive.
Top 100 pick.
You wouldn't use the top 100 pick on Cam Scatterboo?
No, I'm saying what your point was going to be that they used 82nd overall on Tip Ryman. So you went, you cut that in half and you took it 47.
Again, the Scatterboo pick was a reach. I'm willing to admit that. But for the sake of the theatrics of the mock draft, we all knew he wasn't going to make it to their 3rd round pick. So, and we all knew you guys would not allow me to trade up for Cam Scatterboo. So I think I've broken my co-host here on a Friday. We were having such a good week until that point.
Excited. I was excited about the mock draft, and then reality set in and what these usually are, these exercises. And it's just Johnny just having a ball, just having a blast.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't want to do Joe Blow does a mock draft on YouTube with 6 people watching, just methodically going through the rankings. Rub-a-dub scrub. We do things a little differently here. And again, Mike Garafolo, check out the interview yesterday. We posted it confirming a top 30 visit with Cam Scatter. I mean, you only get 30. You only get top 30 top 30s.
How many guys have they drafted that they brought in for top 30s?
Lots of them. Most of them. Most of them. Basically, everyone. I could go through every single pick. You know, Marvin, check. Paris, check. All the elites, all the good players. You want to get to some super chats?
Yeah, let's do it.
A little palate cleanser, super chat style. The 90s Poppy Bow, $2. Are we passing on Green Pierce if available at 16?
It's a great question. I mean, we passed on Pierce the ability to draft him in our mock draft. I think Mike Green was off the board. But those are 2 polarizing figures as far as this draft class goes because of off-the-field stuff, because if it was on the field, you look at the athleticism, you look at the production with Green, you would think that they would be right there in the Cardinals' wheelhouse. But got to pretty much between now and draft time figure out if they've got too many red flags, if there's some deal breakers there for the Cardinals.
Those are like, I think in a perfect world, like if those players didn't have off the field concerns, like they'd be mocked to the Cardinals constantly, right? Yeah. And now we don't know. And you can't force the pick if the value's not there with another edge rusher. I think that's why the trade down option is appealing for this team.
Jalen Blair, $10. Season will be made on if the O-line can pass block on true passing down sets. O-line was not good on obvious pass downs, 3rd and 7+, 3rd and long. K1 had no completions past the sticks in those situations. # under pressure.
I mean, absolutely. Kyler Murray was not done any favors in certain instances against like the Seattle Seahawks and the LA Rams. But I mean, like, the Cardinals pressured well against Stafford in that game, and he made, the difference in throws. So We just, like we said earlier, we need some signature wins. Like, say what you want about Darnold, Bo, at the end of the year, and he wet the bed in those 2 games. Like, he went into Seattle and beat Seattle, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he had those kind of games where it was like he outplayed the opposing quarterback. And the Cardinals, they need that from Kyler Murray this year. And Kyler needs it for himself, too. Cardi D, $2. Let's go get our DB. Not a fan of Sean Murphy bunting, is Cardi D.
Yeah. You're having them kick rocks there with the emojis. Brian P. Jedrick Wills was a bust at left tackle. Put him at right tackle where he played in college in case Jonah goes down or Gramps got that job on lockdown. Thing about Wills is he's deteriorated health-wise. He hasn't necessarily been like a bust. He was pretty good his first 2 seasons and then started to fall apart.
Yeah, I think that by signing Beecham and Jonah Williams, we haven't seen Jonah Williams though, so they could say he's healthy and ready to go until people see him.
Wills was a right tackle because he was wasn't Tua as his quarterback, so he had the lefty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Is this Tom Bauer? Tom Bauer, $4.99. Cool profile pick. After 2 years, officially a diehard. Yes, let's go.
Tom.
Thanks for being the best cards podcast in the world. 1 + 6 = 18 inbound. Keep up the great work, Johnny, Bo, and Damon, Dawg.
Thankfully, Tom submitted that before that mock draft took place. Josh, $10. We appreciate you, Tom. Can't wait to see you, my guy, in all seriousness, in the Discord. $10 from Josh, friend of the program, sporting just a phenomenal sleeve. Jacoby adds a level of safety for Monty and JG. If Kyler falls off again, it's not like they're trotting out tuned for 4 or 5 games. Thank goodness for that. He will help Kyler or help a rookie next year make or break for Kyler. Perfectly said. He's going to be here next year regardless. And Dana put it in the chat earlier. It's like everybody wants Kyler to play well, but it's a movable contract after this year. It's like everything's on the table. You can't, you got to make the playoffs this year. If Kyler Murray makes the playoffs, he's going to be around.
Yeah. Josh comes back with a $5 super chat. Any word if Asante is saying that he deals with stingers every year is making teams iffy on signing him? I like SAJ, but the injury seems like a concern. Yeah, I think his market teams are trying to figure out what they're going to pay him, how many years, and what him and his representation are willing to accept.
I mean, I don't think he's getting any more than a 2-year deal at this point. Yeah. I think the 3- and 4-year deals are gone for those. Same with Mekhi Becton. So Cardinals, hopefully putting themselves in a good position with some money left over, get a value player in a Samuel or otherwise. Steve Kimes burner, cut Nichols. Now BJ is edge number 2. Weaver Mike targets. Bilal Nichols, I think we're going to see. Like, I don't like cutting LJ Collier in favor of Bilal Nichols, but Bilal Nichols makes more money. And hopefully Ossenfort can differentiate, because LJ Collier is just a better player than
I think
Nichols.
These are just a couple things in a row. I think he's saying cut Nichols. BJ is the edge 2 opposite Josh Sweat. And then asking if we have
maybe get more targets for Weaver and Michael Wilson.
Yeah. I could be wrong. Wait, comes back here, Steve Kimes burner to $1.99. Just thinking of picking Cam pisses me off. Restart. Right there with you.
Oh, wow. I'll make a pledge right now that will be the only time.
I thought Steve Kimes burner would love that pick.
If it was really Steve Keim. That will be the only time that I force Cam Scattaboo on this chat. Listen, there's a segment. We got 1,400 people live. There are people who want to see the Cardinals draft Cam Scattaboo. I happen to be one of them. But for the sake of
their second pick.
True. No, that was clearly just done for theatrics to rattle my co-host. I promise that will not happen again. But I'm going to enjoy this one.
Hey, no. So when I made you pledge, like, you knew that you're,
but that wasn't me. That was an alternate Johnny. That's why I said I won't do it, but Kermit Johnny will do it. Looking in the mirror as I put on my black shawl over my head.
That you just had it within an arm's reach.
This has all been
in your nerd cave there.
This has all been in the works for several hours since it came in. And I butchered it because I couldn't see that the graphic was still up, and then I blew the moment of, the shock moment of taking Scatterboo 47.
Oh, so shocking. Yeah. If Harmon and JTT were their first and second, I would be happy. So, yep. All right. Steve Kimes burner 199. Maxwell Harrison is 7,000 times better than Cam, who you took him in front of.
We'll see. Hey, Steve Kimes burner. We'll see.
And then Donnie, one of our guys who's tuned in to the draft. Harmon at 16 is a reach. Walter Edge or trade down. And we, I don't know if he just put this one in. We took Harmon at 28th.
Which I think is about, like, I would put Harmon on the same level of like what a Darius Robinson was last year, who went coincidentally picked 27 last year. So I think the simulator is going to even out here in the coming weeks. Like, I don't see Walter Nolan dropping out of the top 20 most mocks. That mock was a little bit outrageous. We haven't done one in a while. I don't know if the algorithm's a little off with PFF. Here's another super chat that just came in. Ours 6285, $2. I think y'all need to come out to Houston this season. Be great. We haven't picked our road game yet. Houston be fantastic.
Just saw our guy Benjamin Solak. He was on ESPN breaking down the fit, or as he says, the non-fit for Cooper Kupp in Seattle, and just saying he was there and he was breaking it down just how it's not going to work with JSN. And they gave a guy $15 million per season, 3 years, $45 million for Cooper Kupp to stay in the division. Go home. I get that, all that, but I mean, this is an outrageous deal by the Seahawks.
What do you think the rationale is?
I mean, it was going to be JSN and then like MVS.
And a draft pick probably.
Yeah, and like Jake Bobo. So he's like, all right, we got to. And the market for Kupp was there were like four other teams in on him, I guess. But $15 million a year is crazy.
I mean, he was about as invisible as we've ever seen him this year against the Cardinals. I mean, he's been a Cardinal killer in years prior. He could not get open. And Budda Baker, remember the hit Budda Baker put on him at State Farm Stadium? He was Puka Nacua beat the Cardinals by himself in what was that, week 17? Kupp was a complete non-factor. So here's what I like. If they screw around with Smith and Jigba's usage and put him outside where he's not as comfortable, like, give me some of that. Because Cooper Kupp, the biggest knock on him right now is he's slow. So, like, he has to go underneath. Well, if you put Smith and Jigba out wide, maybe everybody's kind of rattled by this. Plus, then you have, like, the unknown with Sam Darnold. That just feels like too much change in one offseason for a team where it's like brand new quarterback, old receiver, moving around our number one target to maybe the outside. I mean, we're going to see. Won't it be a pretty big indictment on the Cardinals? Like, if that offense outperforms the Cardinals offense and it's been put together with Scotch duct tape, that's going to be a really big, storyline to follow. Is can Kyler Murray, Marv, Trey, and Michael, with it basically year 3 together, sans Marvin, can that group take the next step? If they get passed by Darnold and Cooper Kupp, that's a bad look. You can't have that.
Right. Yeah, it's not good. That wouldn't be good. But like now you look at it as far as Seattle had one of the strongest receiving cores in the division.
Yeah.
Now they've got a washed Cooper Kupp that they're overpaying. And then JSN's great. But they kind of just dismantled that thing. And as good of a deal as I think they got Darnold on, what was it, 3 for $100, which is a pretty solid deal for a quarterback, the top quarterback in the market, and getting rid of Geno. I don't know. There's a lot of like you're weighing the pros and cons here as far as did they shifted around a lot of furniture and they swapped out some things, but is this grass going to be greener than it was before?
Darnold without Kevin O'Connell, Jay Jetta, and Addison. I mean,
good protection. Yeah. All right. Last super chat, and we'll get you out to the weekend, barring any kind of emergency pod. Chris Carrasco, thank you for $10 to the super chat. I'm truly concerned with our offense. Besides Trey, not sure how he's going to play out. We have no true one wide receiver yet. Teams will just stack the box and stop the run play on our wide receivers. Concerned.
I mean, I think there needs to be more creativity from the Cardinals play caller to getting separation for Marv and Michael Wilson. The usage of Marv has to improve to give Marvin an opportunity to expand his route tree. He was the number one cross route receiver in the NFL last year. And I think Trey McBride, they're so physical and they're so big. Getting them easy targets underneath should not be as hard as it was, especially for Marvin. Everything with Marv was like sacrificial X receiver go route. Like that has to stop. And Petzin's a smart guy. If he works for Gannon, holds his coaching staff to such a high level. Like if Drew's not in the lab right now, figuring out like maximizing out what his targets are doing, like that, I have too much respect for Gannon as an ability to evaluate coaching talent, to just say like, the offense is going to be the same. Like it's going to evolve for sure, but it's on the quarterback too.
Make sure you take advantage of our Die Hard discount. $36 gets you access. You like the chat here. The chat never ends. As far as our exclusive member Discord, you get discounts on a lot of our events that are coming up. Don't miss out. It ends at midnight. Make sure you're subscribed here. PHNX Sports here on YouTube. And we are making our march to 40K. It's been a banner week. Thanks to all of you tuning in to our Sunday broadcast, our emergency pod broadcast. We did 2 of them. This was show 8 in a span of 6 days, 5 days. It's been a pleasure. We are going to do our first week recap. Look for that video coming up on YouTube this weekend. You can also find it wherever you find podcasts. And look out for our Mike Garafolo interview as well, and some little shorts from that. It's been a fun week, Johnny Venerable.
Yeah, we've done a lot of shows, a lot of content, and there's more coming around the docket here. Week 2 of free agency. Will the Cardinals add a corner of note? Plus, we're getting down to brass tacks next week with more draft analysis and how these players are going to fit in. Something tells me free agency going to keep on going into next week. We're going to get a couple more trades, maybe some mid-level trades. You start to see, you get closer to the draft and teams are like, you know what, I like my player that could be available than maybe a veteran, and they could move off of them. Cardinals are in the same spot, a couple different spots, but everybody like this video. Again, do us a favor, become a diehard. $36 a month, as Bo said. Tag us on Twitter. Confirmation of the diehard, immediate retweet, immediate follow from the Beat account. Big thanks to everybody who signed up this week and today. If you have any questions on that too, our DMs are wide open. We want to see you in the member Discord. We want to see you at gophnx.com. For Damon, Bo, I'm Johnny Venerable. Everybody have a great rest of your week into your weekend. We'll see you, barring breaking news, on Monday. Peace.
See ya.
We all silly like the mayor.